Hi friends, Wholeness and Balance Vibrations. It's Mystic Mommy, aka the Ebony Hempress. You already know. Today I wanted to give you some tips on how to make quality cannabis content. So let's get started. Number one is know your audience so that you know how to reach them, how to speak to them. So get very specific so that you know how to relate to your audience. Obviously, we're talking to people that are interested or enthusiastic about cannabis, but get even more specific. Are you talking to canna moms? Are you trying to reach elderly people? Are you trying to talk to beginners, to cannabis? Get very specific so you can tailor your content to that audience so that it's very easily digestible for them. Be authentic and get creative. Bring your audience into your world. Don't be afraid to get personable with them and immerse them. People want to be able to relate to someone, to, feel like they're making a friend. This builds community. This builds trust and rapport with your audience. This is how you find your tribe when you're being authentic. So that's very important, and just get creative. Take your audience with you on a walk in the park, if that's what you do, or take them on your adventures, bring them into your world, whatever that looks like for you. The next thing is going to be provide value in some way. How can you provide value to your audience? Are you wanting to share knowledge and information? Are you wanting them to gain some knowledge from your content? Are you wanting them to feel some emotions? Are you wanting them to leave with a different perspective? They should be walking away with something with your content. So how are you really reaching them? Even if you're making a comedy video, you're still providing value by making someone laugh. You can still provide value by throwing in a fun fact in the caption or something. I mean, it could be anything, really. But just make sure you are providing something for the consumer to take away with. Next tip is play by the rules. And what I just mean by that is take into consideration what platform you're using and what content you're trying to post on specific platforms. Obviously, there's a difference between posting cannabis content on YouTube versus TikTok versus Instagram. Make sure you're not using keywords that AI is going to pick up on that is related to cannabis. You can't use words like hemp or weed or cannabis or cannabinoid. You can't use these types of words. You will have to, kind of mess up the words so that they can't be picked up. So you have to be very mindful about the rules and the restrictions so that you're not getting flagged and you're not getting shadow banned. A lot of cannabis content creators have to deal with being shadow banned and losing their accounts and not being able to grow their accounts as quickly as other creators. And so your best bet is to try to avoid being restricted at all costs and get really creative about how you make cannabis content. And my next tip is to cite your sources and use disclaimers. So you want to make sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's if you're going to be talking about, very educational based things, you want to make sure you have some sources, especially if you're trying to educate people. And if you are talking about, dosing and products, make sure you're giving disclaimers that you're not giving medical advice and you are not a doctor. Those are things you want to say. And that your content is being used for educational and entertainment purposes only. Very good to know. If you want to be making quality cannabis content and you want to be looked at like a professional, you really got to take into consideration what you're promoting in your videos about cannabis. So, definitely make sure you're promoting safety. Make sure you're fact-checking yourself. And just overall, be sure not to spread misinformation. Make sure you are really doing your research and being mindful about what message you are trying to bring across. Another tip is be mindful of trends on social media. You can follow them, you can set trends. I suggest doing both. If you find certain trends that are going on within your community on social media, definitely be sure to jump in on that and, make sure you're commenting and liking other people's posts and you're really being a part of the community. That helps the algorithm work in your favor. But also set trends, get creative and think about, new audios that you find, or maybe think of audios that no one's ever used yet and start, coming up with your own skits. That's the most fun thing, and I think it's so cool when you see a new trend kind of just get started and you're like, wow, that's a really good one. Think of those yourself. And then my last tip for making quality content is reduce, reuse, and recycle your content. For efficiency purposes, you can reduce your content. Literally, you can chop it all up. You can make a long form piece of content, a video, chop it all up into different sections and turn it into multiple videos and make it a series. You can reuse content. You can take old content and throw it up on your story and refresh it, and new people will see it. And you can recycle content. So yeah, definitely do that.